In recent years, a lot of people have been talking about the global economic downturn. I'm sure at some point or so you have heard terms such as the recession, depression, but of greater concern has been the decrease or the increase in pricing. There's a lot of interest from the market, from consumers, individuals, businesses, as far as prices of goods and services are concerned. The question still remains, in whichever economic circumstances we find ourselves, how are prices determined? In this video today, we are going to look at price determination as a result of the laws of supply and demand to help unpack the question, why and how do prices increase? Welcome to Money Matters on this Friday and every other Friday. I am your host, Kenneth Piri. Thank you for tuning in. Please help the channel grow, like, share the videos, and subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. And also hit the notification button so that you can get notified when we load new content. The laws of supply and demand are very important tools to help understand how prices are determined in a free market system. Now, in a free market system, the buyers and the sellers and their confluence in terms of the demand and the supply that they bring create or generate the prices that we actually see in the market. So the two parties and their participation in the particular market determines or influences whether the price will increase or decrease at a given time. What is supply and the law that governs it? Supply is the amount of a good or service that a seller is willing and able to sell at any given price. Now, it is significant for us to focus on two aspects there, ability as well as willingness. Okay, sometimes you might be willing to sell a product, but if you don't have the ability or the capacity to do so, you do not constitute what is called the supply of a particular product. Now, the seller himself has to be able, which means they have to have the product as inventory where the product is readily available for them to sell. But besides that, they must also be willing to sell at that particular price. So you will notice then that when prices increase, the suppliers will supply more, which now gives us what is called the law of supply. The law of supply states that at a higher prices, sellers are willing to sell more of a particular product. For instance, in this case, if the prices was to move here from P1 to P2 and to P3, you'll find that the quantity supplied will move from A, B, and C. You'll see that there is an incremental move towards the quantity supply if the prices increase. So there is actually a positive relationship between the quantity supplied and prices. On the other hand, demand is when buyers or consumers are willing and also able to buy a particular good or service at a specific price. So again, not only are they willing to buy it, but they are also able to buy it, which means they have the purchasing power to support their demand for a particular product. Let's say, for instance, you want to buy a Ferrari, okay, a Lamborghini or whatever you, but you do not have the capacity or the buying power to buy it. You do not qualify as people who demand that particular product. Not only must you be willing to buy, but you must be able to buy that particular product. Now, this leads us to what is known as the law of demand. According to the law of demand, there is an inverse relationship between a quantity demanded and the price. So if the price were to increase, then people will demand less. If the prices were to decrease from P1 to P2 and to P3, you will see that people will demand more of the product as you shift from A to B and to C. This means that people are demanding more when prices decrease. Now, I'm sure it's true, you have seen it when there is a cut down on a good that you like, or there is a sale. obviously people will rush into the shops and buy more of that particular product. It's what we noticed during Black Friday. Okay, a lot of goods are marked down. So because they are marked down, you see people rushing to the shops. Why? Because the price is attractive enough for them to buy more. Everyone, after all, is looking for a bargain. If you have made it this far, we'll appreciate the sub to the channel and give us a thumbs up. Now, the confluence of the two laws, which means that if supply and demand were to meet at a particular point, that is where price determination occurs. This creates what is called a price equilibrium. In simple terms, a price equilibrium means that the buyers and the sellers are agreeing on the quantity supplied and quantity demanded in relation to the price. So you'll find that the two curves will meet, right? The supply curve and the demand curve will meet. So they are agreeing at that particular point, which is now called the equilibrium price. However, at any point above the equilibrium, we say that there is surplus supply. What it means, therefore, is that since we say that the price, when prices increase, suppliers supply more. But the flip side to that is that consumers demand less. If consumers demand less, therefore, you see that there is a surplus in the market in terms of the availability of the goods. So we say that there is surplus, okay? And then below the equilibrium, there is obviously a deficit because suppliers are willing to sell less at a lower price and consumers are willing to buy more. Okay, so actually there is a deficit there, or there is a shortage right at the bottom. Now, the market will always self-correct in most cases. What it basically means is that if there is a surplus, then people will refrain from buying, and then suppliers or sellers are forced to bring the price down, and it goes back to equilibrium. Then the same happens again. If the prices are low, then suppliers also will refrain from selling, right? Which means they create what is called an artificial shortage, which causes a shortage in the marketplace, and then demand sort of increases. Okay, now in real life, let's explain exactly how prices change. For instance, if there was a decrease in supply, okay, let me give you a scenario such as the Russian-Ukraine war, all right? Now, we know that Russia is one of the world's largest suppliers of oil and petroleum-related products, such as gas, gasoline, petrol, and stuff like that, diesel, and all of those products, okay? So, when the war broke out, we know that Russia went into sanctions from the West and stuff like that, which means Russia effectively cannot sell or dump their oil on the market. So that creates a shortage which was supplied previously by Russia. Okay, so which means effectively that supply of oil has decreased. Now, if supply of oil decreases, what it basically means is that now there is a deficit in the market. Now, the deficit will always cause an increase in price. That's the reason why you have seen oil prices increasing and every other product that is related to oil increasing, the fuel prices and so forth. But now, the problem is that this will always trickle down to every other product that is transported, because now inflationary pressure will actually push the prices up. We call this cost push inflation, but it is basically caused by a shortage in the supply of a particular good. On the other hand, an increase in supply will cause a decrease in the price. Okay, so it basically means that the product is flooding the market. There is so much of that product. That's when you see products going on sale after the festive season. There are just a lot of products that people don't want to buy. So the supply of those goods in a wrong period of time, it means that the price will go down. Or effectively, you have heard that OPEC, which is made up of the oil and petroleum exporting countries, basically play around with the supply of oil-related products, fuels, in order to influence the price of oil on the international market. So what they'll do is If they want to reduce the price, they'll increase supply. If their supply increases, it means that the oil prices will go down. Okay, so they are able to play with the supply in order to influence the price. That is to say that demand has remained constant, which in economics terms we say ceteris paribus. So we are able to move one variable. If we're moving supply and demand remaining constant, we say change in supply ceteris paribus. Or if we're changing demand, supply remaining constant, we say changes in demand ceteris paribus, meaning that we are only changing one variable while everything else is held constant. And then we've got changes also in demand. Now, a decrease in demand basically means that prices are increasing. Now, if price were to increase, then demand will decrease. And then on the flip side of that, we have also an increase in demand. An increase in demand will occur if the price were to decrease. Because we said, remember, that there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Now, if by whatever reason the price of a product decreases, this usually influences people to buy more of that particular product. So you'll find a product that is on sale facing a greater demand because the price is good enough for people to buy more. Therefore, they're just responding to the law of demand. Now, you might ask yourself, why is it significant that we know this? We know this from a business perspective as well as consumers. A business really needs to know how supply and demand influences its pricing, or how its pricing influences the demand that it will face for its product. This will help them schedule their production as well as do what is called demand forecasting for better decision making as far as ordering and having inventory stock. Otherwise, it will just be a waste ordering a lot of inventory that people will not buy. So it is significant for us to know such information if we are business people. Now, if we're individuals, it obviously interests us to know that economics is a very practical subject. It's always good to understand exactly what is happening behind the scenes, why prices are increasing, and why are they increasing at such a rate. The answer is the laws of supply and demand, which are at work to cause what is called price determination. I hope you really like this content. If you did, please leave a comment in the description box down below and tell us exactly which other topics you want us to discuss on this channel. Otherwise, please give us a thumbs up, like, and share the videos, as well as subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. This is Money Matters on this Friday, every other Friday. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.